Hi everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism, narcissistic relationships, and healing from narcissistic relationships. So listen to this idea. If it affects you, drop it in the comments or something. Have any of you ever, or are any of you, from a narcissistic family who actually kind of tried to love bomb you after you made some real money? So let's say the situation is you start making money. You start making a lot of money, okay? Whatever a lot of money to you and your family is. You get a bonus, or your company goes public, or your idea goes viral, or maybe you even get a settlement in a lawsuit. Maybe you finish school and you start a really well-paying job right out of school, especially like law school or med school, whatever it is. You make money. I want to keep ideas of like winning money out of this or marrying someone who has money, because that's a different vibe. For this video, specifically talking money that largely came out of your work. We could do the luck-based money on another video, right? I'm not talking millions, but for some of you that might mean millions. But it's an amount of money that definitely represents a jump up. It may be thousands, it may be tens of thousands, but it's an amount, something, that would be noticed as a bit of a game changer in whatever your family, your system, your world is about, okay? So you earn this money. I don't know how you did it, maybe through hard work, maybe a little bit of good timing. Like I said, drop it in the comments if this happened to you. My question is, how did your narcissistic family system react when you started making that money? Here's my guess, is that it was weird and confusing and moderately unsettling. Money matters to narcissistic people a lot. Money means power, validation, bragging rights, superficial stuff like cars and clothes and stuff. So if you are making more now, it moves the power scales, and your family system may not like it. This weirdness can be magnified, for example, if you were not the golden child. If you make this money and originally you were the scapegoat, or you're an invisible child, and now you're succeeding financially. So let's just break this down. Let's break down some of the typical reactions you might get if you start making lots of money and you're from a narcissistic family system. First, your family may attempt to actually love bomb you. Once word of your good news gets out, of course, my guidance is that you don't let your narcissistic family system know, but information gets around, especially in this time of social media, so they may find out either way. But they find out, and you may find them paying more attention to you, sending you relatively love-bomby texts, asking you to come around, have dinner, hang out, just being nice. This can be really unsettling if you weren't the one to tell them about your good fortune, but clearly they found out some other way. But the full court press that is love bombing may happen. It's not just for lovers, and the fact of the matter is it can feel really uncomfortable because that's not what you're used to. Second, then you can plan on some manipulation. And this may come out most often around what they feel you owe them. We did so much for you. Do you remember how we did this and did that and drove you there and gave you that and helped with your first car? They may do everything short of pulling out a spreadsheet showing everything they did for you, from the bottles of baby food they once bought you to perhaps college tuition. This will also be very uncomfortable. And reality check, and this is solely my opinion, it's not some grand psychological law, I'm a pretty big believer that children don't owe their parents anything. A child may want to do for their parents, and I say this as a parent, I don't expect a damn thing from my children. I hope they go out into the world and succeed brilliantly and enjoy it all without feeling that they owe me a thing. When we have children, it's our choice. And good parenting means raising children who can go on to be autonomous adults who get to be their own people. Children to me are not meant to be an annuity that owes us anything. Well, narcissistic family systems, however, are very entitled systems. People in narcissistic family systems, and not just parents, siblings too, they feel entitled to whatever they wanted. As far as your parents were concerned, they felt entitled to whatever they wanted from you as a child. And everyone still feels entitled, especially if you go on to succeed. They may literally feel entitled to your material success, and that doesn't feel good. Third, then you're going to go into the victimhood phase. If your parents or siblings, none of them are having the kind of success that you're experiencing, you may hear things like, "Oh, I worked so hard. Oh, it was a different time and people like me didn't get paid what they were worth." Or, "I guess one more time I'm just reminded that life is not fair." Or, "Your brother has never had it as easy as you. You know, you don't owe me anything, but I do hope you remember that your success may make him feel bad, so maybe you should help him out." Narcissistic people are brilliant at, in fact, this is what they do, at blame shifting and at victimhood taking, and especially if you have vulnerable/covert narcissistic people in your family, you may find that your success becomes about their disappointments, and it can be very easy to fall into the pit of feeling bad for them. Then fourth, you may start seeing in them the vacillation between hoovering and anger. If their plays at manipulation and victimhood don't work, and you aren't just handing them over money or doing what they ask, they will go back and forth between anger, because all roads lead to anger and rage for a narcissistic person who is not getting their way, and then hoovering, because you are still a source of supply that they want to get. It may sadly feel reminiscent of childhood, when you weren't sure if you were going to get the nice parent or the angry one. If they don't get their way, they believe that you are winning and not giving them what they feel entitled to. Then that's when you're going to see anger. Fifth, family roles matter. When the golden child is the one who succeeds financially, in most family systems, sadly, that's sort of a case of the puzzle pieces fitting, and golden children, who probabilistically are more likely to share some of the narcissistic traits, may still be submerged in the family system and still keep playing the family's narcissistic game if they succeed. But when the scapegoat, invisible child, fixer, truth seer, or helper is the one who succeeds, it's a different game, especially the scapegoat. And personally, nothing makes me happier than when I see the scapegoat go out there and succeed brilliantly. But in a way, when these subjugated roles like the scapegoat succeed, that is when, in many ways, you are upsetting the apple cart of the tenuous narcissistic family system. And they may believe, the family may believe, that they're more likely to be able to manipulate a scapegoat. And then enabling matters too. Patterns within the family that involve enabling the narcissistic family member, and that narcissistic family member could be a parent, a grandparent, a sibling. So the family, the narcissistic family system, enables that person. And when they kind of come at you with their manipulative nonsense about your success, and it's all very entitled, right? Well, those enably folks may chime in and basically say, "Yeah, you do owe your parent and all of us." It's sort of a greedy troop of manipulative flying monkeys at that point. So the bigger question you're wondering, what are you supposed to do? Succeeding in any way, financially or otherwise, after growing up in a narcissistic family system is not easy. So many voices in your head about not enough, imposter syndrome, doubting yourself, means that your climb was steeper. However, it also amazes me how much empathy survivors of these narcissistic family systems have, even though they often were not given enough as children. That empathy can be tricky because you may feel obligated to your family, especially if they did do things like help with tuition, or if they actually did have their own difficult backstories financially. That's fine. For any of you, it's important you do what feels right. However, the piece that you've got to gird yourself against is to remember that nothing you do will ever be enough. If you give a certain amount of money, There will always be the sense of, why didn't you do more? Give more. And if you are to spend on yourself, there may also be the, well, you got yourself a nice house and your sister's still paying rent, as though you can't or you don't get to live your life and enjoy your earnings until everyone in your family system gets what they want. Well, that's impossible. It'll never be enough. So don't deplete yourself in your finances trying to do that. If you want to support your family in any way, that's on you, but recognize you give what works for you. And as I said, in an ideal world, you don't tell them your success. Remember the rule of managing any narcissistic person. Don't share good news, don't share bad news, and stick to the weather and the price of milk. It is so tempting, though, to share the good news. The trauma-bonded cycles can mean that even when we think we have narcissism all figured out, we're still trying to win over narcissistic parents. Look, Mom, look, Dad, I did good. Look how much money I make. Try and curb that impulse, hard as it may be. However, again, in our social media influenced world, they're likely going to find out somehow. So be prepared for these cycles: love bombing, hoovering, manipulation, and the big blame shifted mess it could be. The entitlement of narcissistic family systems means that they're never going to take responsibility for the harm they did to you. But if your fortunes swing in the good direction, I can promise you this: they're going to be there, hat in hand. Good luck with that. And just throwing this out there, those of you who want to do the deeper healing work, something like this happens to you, and you really want to work on your healing, that's deeper than we can do here on YouTube. Please go to the video notes. You'll see information on our healing program. We've had thousands of people come through and make some real differences in their life. We'd love to have you join for as long as you want to really expand on the work you do in healing. And a family coming at you for money is a great example of that. Thanks again.